took the time to make the decision to get up this morning, and we came here to school and things like that. But the difference is how each one of us got to school today. Some of you may have taken the bus. A lot of you have cars. Some of you ride your bike, walked, etc. But none of you did what I did, and drove a scooter. Today I would like to unclog what you may have the notions that you may already have about scooters, and break the bonds of ignorance and show how motorized scooters are the most efficient form of transportation. As an owner and frequent user of a scooter, I know that it's more efficient than cars. I mean, it's kind of helped me a lot through getting to school like that. It's a low cost and efficient way to get to school. And I just find it a lot easier to travel on things like that, especially for shorter distances, meaning under 10 miles. Throughout the course of the presentation, I'd like to highlight the aspects of the scooter that will make it more efficient than other transportation choices that you might have. And as well, kind of refute any arguments that I've kind of come across in my 2 years of driving a scooter to school. First off, I would like to kind of combat, the issue that's on a lot of people's minds is rising gas prices. Throughout the years, we've seen exponential increases in gas prices. It's pretty noticeable. I remember when I was a kid, when I was a younger kid, I was like 10 years old, and I remember gas was like somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.25 a gallon or something like that. And now, a couple years ago, it's not as bad now, but a couple years ago it might have been $4.75, almost $5 in some places, and right now it's somewhere around $4. That's still like twice as much as it was 10 or 12 years ago. So if you have a regular sized car, let's say like a Honda Civic or something like that, you could easily throw away $20 to $30 on, not even a full tank of gas. With a scooter, with a regular 50cc, by the way, cc is something that like 50cc would be like the power of the engine and like how fast it goes. So like a regular 50cc scooter like the one I drive, you spend $4 of gas for 85 miles. So that's 85 miles to the gallon versus something like a Honda Civic, which is maybe, 30 on the streets or something like that. So you can see for the same amount of gas per mileage, it's at least twice, sometimes 120% more. Your run-of-the-mill scooter requires little gas, and even as you increase the power of the scooter, it still requires less gas than a car would. Some of the drawbacks of the scooter would include you wouldn't be able to go as fast. Mine doesn't go very fast, maybe like 40 miles an hour. Yeah, no, it's kind of pathetic, but it gets me where I need to go. And it gets me there quickly, like when you have close traffic environments, you can kind of zip through and things like that. You can tend to get places a lot faster. Even as you get into larger models, like the 150cc, which is freeway legal, it can get to 80 miles an hour, which is really as fast as you ever need to go on the freeway. And it still costs $4 to the gallon, and for a 150cc scooter, you would get maybe 65 miles to the gallon, which is still twice of what you would have for a regular car. And you can carry a passenger, which is kind of cool. Because who doesn't want to be on the back of the scooter? All right. So, as long as gas prices are concerned, everyone knows that lower gas is good. But even on top of that, you have lower maintenance fees. Maintenance fees, when you have a car, you have to take it in more often than you would a scooter. Generally, it's every 3,000 miles or 10,000 miles on a car. And even though it's every 3,000 miles for a scooter, the cost is so much less for each visit you come in just for periodical maintenance. For example, just to kind of pick a random part on a scooter, let's say a muffler. Our car muffler, I just kind of looked online for like basic muffler parts for a car. And from nexttag.com, there was a minimum of $100. $100 is kind of steep, or it's actually the base price for a car. But if you think about what you could be spending, it's pretty steep. When I went for partsforscooters.com, the minimum price was $15. That is a drastic, maybe even 5 times less than what you would be spending for a car. So that's a lot of money that's back in your pocket, and you could spend on other things, like we're all starving college students. At least I'm a starving college student. I'm generally hungry. The cupcake was delicious, though, so I appreciate that. that's 5 times less. And of course, the price is going to increase potentially with, the price is going to increase with the size of the scooter the same way the price of the muffler is going to increase for the size of a car or a motorcycle or something like that. When we're comparing things like price, it's important to say things, to compare it to other things like motorcycles and cars and things like that. And to kind of illustrate this point, I'm going to give the story of my brother Daniel. My brother Daniel is really who got me into the entire scooter thing in the first place. He got his scooter first. It was just like a regular 50cc, 40-mile-per-hour Honda Elite that I nicknamed Black Thunder. Because, I don't know, it's got swag. So, first of all, he got the scooter. He rode it back and forth to school. He even went all the way from my house in West Anaheim over to Riverside to go see his girlfriend and stuff like that. And, he was pretty happy with it. After a while, he was kind of tired of how slow it was and things like that, so he got a motorcycle. Spent $13,000 on a motorcycle that once you drive off the lot, he said it lost maybe $5,000 off its original value. So that's after driving it off the lot. That's not even after how long he's owned it and things like that. And he says he kind of regrets it because it's a lot of money. For $13,000, you can buy like 5 scooters for that. You can have one for like almost every day of the week, like underwear. It's awesome. So after that, he was tired of the motorcycle because he couldn't like buy things, he couldn't like carry things, so he bought a car. So he spent $4,000 for like a beat-up old Honda Civic, which he likes and stuff like that. But he still takes it. He complains about the hours he spends in traffic on the freeway just to get to his, maybe not hours, but like still at least an hour and 15 minutes just to get to his job over in Yorba Linda. From my house in West Anaheim to his job over in Yorba Linda. So he still reverts back and kind of regrets giving me the scooter, but I'm not giving it back because I love the scooter, and so does he. Because we both found that it's a more efficient way of transportation. And one of the big drawbacks of the scooter, like I mentioned before, is how fast you can go. For like the standard, regular kind of 50cc one like I have, like I said, like 40 miles an hour, 45 if you're going to go downhill with the wind at your back. Which you might think is kind of slow. But when you think about it, a lot of us who go to this school live within 10 miles. So that is probably the majority of the people who come who go to Fullerton College. So it takes me, compared to the other people who live around me that came from my high school, it takes me about 5 to 6 minutes less, which isn't that big of a deal until you realize that it takes me 15 minutes and then him 20 minutes. So 25% less to travel on a scooter when he's taking the freeway. And like I mentioned before, you have other things like traffic. Traffic, everyone hates, but it's something we all have to deal with, except for me. Because I get to go in between the cars, and people may honk at you and things like that, but you learn to tune it out and things like that. So for instance, me and my friends, after practice something, we'll go to the McDonald's that's over by the 91, and then, it's kind of like an unspoken rule that we race every time, but I win every time, so it doesn't bother me. It's lots of fun. Other forms of transportation would be public transportation, i.e. buses and trains and things like that. And they decrease their efficiency because you're always at the mercy of the bus schedule. You always have the overlooming hand of Octa and whenever the bus is going to get there. And there's so many other things that have to deal with when the bus is going to get there. So many other factors that play into it. And it's a lot easier to have your own vehicle, ideally a scooter, for you to get to point A to point B. Taxis are expensive, same kind of thing. You're always at the mercy of the taxi company, and they're generally more expensive. All right, now we've highlighted the positive aspects of the scooter, and it dominates other forms of transportation. Someday you will all come to your senses and you'll buy a scooter. You'll realize that it's better for you, cost-wise, it's better for the environment because low gas means low emissions. And we can all appreciate the cost and efficiency provided by this majestic automobile. Want to ride?
No.
All right, Kirsten, what did you think?
I thought it was a really good speech. He does a really good job of grabbing our attention, especially in the beginning. And he states his thesis really clearly. And he doesn't do a lot of reading. I liked how he brought up the gas prices and compared how it's a lot cheaper to use a scooter with the gas